Welcome to our today's lesson, and we're going to look at leadership in rural and urban society. We shall look at the definition of a leadership and authority, whereby we say leadership is a force that initiates action among people towards achieving society's common goals, whereby authority refers to the legitimate power one has as she or he occupies in a given office. We're going to look again at the sources of power, processes of identification of a leader. We have the personal power, whereby it is derived from support from followers who return expected reward from the leader. We have this legitimate power, where one has a right to influence followers in turn of an obligation to accept influence so as them to be taken as leaders. Coercive power, it uses force to induce obedience among followers. For instance, use of punishments even in our training institutions. We have the reference power, whereby a leader is extemporary and followers are motivated to admire the leader. We have the expert power, whereby the leader is respected due to the knowledge, competence, and the experiences he or she possesses. We're also going ahead to look at the theories of leadership. What are these theories of leadership? We have the trait theory, which concerns with the physical characteristics of a leader. For instance, a leader must be well built. Leaders are born, and based on their characteristics, a leader is also chosen. Situation theory, basically, it dictates that the kind of leadership is made out of an existing situation. Functional theory, it states that the function of leadership required to determine the kind of leadership of an organization. A group dynamic theory states that both groups and a particular group determines the kind of leadership. Contingencies, it holds that physical characteristics, group, and tasks determine the kind of leadership. We are going again to check on the qualities of a good leader. Different leaders, different scholars, any person who has been in office as a leader or in an organization as a leader, they do possess different characteristics. The few highlighted are good communication skills, that a leader must have good communication skills. A leader must be audible. A leader must be commanding. We have a quick thinker, whereby a leader will possess knowledge and the intelligence. Patient, good, temperamental or not emotional. They must know how to react to situations. A leader must be encouraging and basically must hold a positive mindset and always being optimistic on the better side. We also have that a leader must be impartial. They must be fair. They must not favor people, and they must hold high levels of honesty. A leader must be mature. Maturity shall check in terms of responsibilities. A leader must make collective decisions whereby they will involve people in decision making. We're looking at the types of leaderships. We have democratic leadership, we have the laissez-faire leadership, we have the autocratic leadership, supervisory leadership, traditional leadership, monarchy leadership, charismatic leadership, anarchy, persuasive leadership. What you have to note is that what you have to note at this particular moment is that democratic democratic leadership, autocratic leadership, and the laissez-faire leadership, they are all styles of leadership. We shall go ahead to look at the steps in leadership development. How are we going to develop this leader? One, or how are we going to come up with a particular type of leader in a given environment or society? One, we have to do some identification of the problem, collect data about that problem, analyze the problem, consider alternative solution, draw a conclusion, and at the end of the day, we shall be able to have a development of coming up with a leader in such a scenario. We are going ahead to look at the steps. Look at the decision making process. Once you want to come up or decide to make a certain decision and come up in conclusion of a certain problem, you have to identify that problem. Collect views and opinions about that problem. You are about that after collecting the views, you'll have different options and alternatives to the problem. Make critical judgment. Choose what best fits for the problem to be solved. Act appropriately. And lastly, at the end of the day, after following the steps, you must do some kind of review. When you look at those steps in terms of leadership, they are the ones that they are going to guide us in terms of developing a leader in a given society. Having these things, having those steps, we're also going to look at the effects of good leadership in agricultural development. How will good leadership make our agricultural development move forward? It will improve production. There'll be prompt payment to farmers. There'll be fair credit facilities. These are just but a few that have been mentioned, and this will give you room for you to discuss further. There are some of the factors that hamper leadership efficiency, whereby we're going to look at what is going to make our leadership be not efficient. There is lack of devotion among leaders. What do we mean by lack of devotion among leaders? Basically, it means that these leaders they do not want to do things by their own, or rather, these leaders they are not motivated at any particular moment. We look at the position-oriented leaders. That these leaders they take position by themselves, they make appointments by themselves, and with this, when you take position by yourself, it means it will hamper the delivery of your duties as a leader at a particular moment. We're also looking at incompetencies. Incompetencies. We're looking at the incompetencies in terms of leadership. When we talk about incompetencies at this particular moment, when you talk about incompetencies at this particular moment, we're looking at this leadership whereby this person is not fit for a particular office. And since they're not fit for a particular office, in terms of their leadership, it will be chaos at the end of the day. Then, lastly, we talk about the inability to accept criticism. As a leader, you must have patience within yourself, always listen to both parties, be slow to anger, as we've looked at the characteristics of a good leader. Having the inability to accept criticism, it will block ways for you to grow as a leader, and this will hamper our leadership efficiencies in our society. Hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Thank you, and hoping to meet you next time as you've grown to be leaders. Thank you very much.